All right, here we are at December the 14th. It's about noontime here in South Georgia. We just got back from getting 20 bags of corn from our local farmer and feeding the deer and hadn't put it all up yet. I think we're making it to around 60 degrees today, maybe 50, I can't remember. But it's just absolutely gorgeous, fabulous weather. Be nice if it stayed like this all year round, but we know that that's not the way God planned it, because you got to have a variety in your weather if you're going to understand and appreciate the seasons. And it's the same way in life. In order to understand good, you've got to have bad, or else it has no meaning. It's the same thing with life and death. If you don't have such a thing as death, then you wouldn't understand what life was. Same thing with light and dark. That's how God's plan works. The seasons teach us. Night and day is the same thing. Now, we've been told that in the next dimension, known as the kingdom of heaven, there will be no darkness. There will be no good and bad. It's a different dimension. There will be no sorrow. There would be no pain. And that's what that will be our home for eternity. Now, I'm here to declare the name of Jesus before men, before women, before children, and any other entities that might be watching, listening, I mean. I want to talk about the parable of the mustard seed. Now, Jesus said that the mustard seed was the smallest seed of the garden seed, but that when it grew up, it became one of the largest of the plants, so that it grew big enough that the birds would nest in it. Now, I don't know if what kind of seed that originally was he used, but I do know a little bit about mustard. We plant mustard around here a lot, and it's one of our favorite greens. And I can tell you that the seed is quite small. And I would say that in good soil, a mustard plant will grow when it goes to seed somewhere around 6 or 8 feet tall, depending on the soil. And certainly birds would nest in that. The reason he was talking about the mustard seed and how it came to my attention was that sometimes I feel like that what I'm doing is not doing any good. Getting out there, getting on YouTube and telling you about Jesus and what he said and about his parables. Essentially declaring his name before men, which he commanded believers to do. Now, I think of Jesus' words as being the seed. And the seed grows rather slowly. In fact, you can put out some seeds in the garden, and you won't see anything for 2 days. 2 weeks, or maybe even a month. And it also depends on how much water and rain there is. Sometimes you wonder if it's going to come up, and you think, no, there's going to be a complete failure, crop failure. But that's how it is with the words of Jesus. They are seed. And those of us that are doing what he said to do, which was to declare his name before men, tend to get and sometimes discouraged because it appears that nothing is happening. Thousands of people are not coming to Christ. As a matter of fact, I don't recall one person that in the years that I've been doing this YouTube ministry ever writing me or getting in touch with me and saying, hey, I'm coming to Christ because of what you said. Now, I'm not saying it didn't happen, but nobody ever told me that anyway. But I do know this. Seeds sprout very slowly, and the plant grows slowly. But it finally grows up and produces fruit. Now, the words of Jesus, we're assured that they will grow into a great tree, the tree of life. Now, the words of Jesus, if you take all of the words recorded in the Bible, sometimes they have the Bible called a red letter Bible. And in the New Testament, everything that Jesus personally said will be in red ink. But it's only a small part of the New Testament. If you take all of the red letter words that Jesus said and put them on one page, I don't think it would take 2 or 3 pages to tell the whole thing, maybe a little more. So Jesus was sparse with his words. But it's a little seed. It sprouts and it grows until it's a great tree. Now, Jesus also mentioned that the words were like leaven that makes the bread rise. Jesus' words, when we hear them, grow in our hearts every day, imperceptibly in some people. Now, Jesus is the Word. And when the lost sheep, particularly those that will eventually come, hear the Word, they may not make any noticeable indication that it means anything to them. But we can be assured that that seed is planted in their heart. Depending on what happens with them in their life, the experiences, the ups and downs of their life, the seed will eventually sprout and begin to grow in their heart. Now, not all of the seed that we talk about, that is not, I say a lot of things that may not get anywhere. Just like if you plant in the garden, you always plant way more seed than you need, and plan to thin that seed, the weak plants and all, to get out. Now, I've been told, now I can't say that I know this to be a fact, but I've heard it quite a bit, that in nature some seeds lie dormant in the soil for a very long time, waiting for the perfect time to sprout. Even hundreds of years, I've heard that some seed will lie dormant. And then when the time comes, maybe the right rain, maybe the right temperature, maybe the right depth in the soil, whatever, it will sprout. So thinking about it this way encourages me to keep sowing the seed, even though I may never see that seed sprout in my life. But I do console myself with that thought. I don't need to see the seed sprout, because I trust Jesus that it will sprout. And that if I do what he says, that there will be some of that seed will go into the heart of some people somewhere, and that it will eventually become a great tree that the birds of heaven nest in. All right, that's my message for today. Don't give up. Jesus has told us to spread his name, spread the word, tell people. Tell people. Start with your own family and friends. You're going to get rejected sometimes, but it's a wonderful rejection when you're being rejected and you know that what you're telling is the truth. So I say, good gardening out there to those of you that are believers and that are wanting to sow some seed. Ask God to give you a way to do it. He is ready, willing, and able to tell you there are hundreds or thousands of different ways of spreading the gospel. Each person has a gift, and that gift can be used. So go, take it to God if you're thinking about doing something, and he'll give you something to do. All right, I thank you for listening. This is Gardner Israel, signing off.